pandemic started to pay special attention and concern to our region, and his strategy has been effective, Kerner said. Quote, I believe ultimately the governor exempted our regional counties from his order for now because he trusts our local government in conjunction with continued dialogue with his office. Is that precisely accurate as to the context of the governor's order?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now that we've vetted this legal document, is it fair to say that both Vice Mayor Weinroth and Commissioner Valachet understand now that we haven't delegated any of our authority away and that the power remains specifically within this county?
Well, no.
Recognize Commissioner Valachet.
I didn't say that we delegated our authority away. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked for us to exercise that authority by asking the governor to include us in phase one. What I've said is, I think if you repeatedly tell the public that you're going to be acting in lockstep with the other two countries, and I don't know how this decision was reached by Governor DeSantis, whether it was his own decision or his staff's decision, or it was our request. But if you repeatedly say we're going to act in lockstep, as an observer, Governor DeSantis would say, I guess they want to remain, outside of phase one because they're a region and they consider themselves a region. Didn't say anything about the de jure aspect of this. I just said that we, throwing ourselves in with them, which we've done. I mean, why are we exempted from phase one? Because we asked for it.
Because we asked for local control. And I, as a member of the executive task force, my appointment was me personally, I did ask for local control here in Palm Beach County. I did not want to be subjected to the broader overall order. I wanted us to be able to have a surgical response to how we open up our county.
But how did so when you got word that the phase one restrictions were going to be, or the phase one loosening was going to happen, you said Palm Beach County wants to be released from the other two counties? No, I don't think you did, because we would have been then.
No, I asked that our county be given special dispensation to open our own economy on our own terms. I didn't want us to be subjected to the broader overall.
Well, then why didn't it happen?
It did happen, and now we have all the power. We just have to consult with the governor.
Well, we always had the power.
No, that's not true.
As of yesterday, we had the power.
Yeah, so his phase one just started yesterday. What I asked for as a member of the task force, not in a press briefing, not in a press conference, and I know that you watched the task force, that there needs to be special attention paid to the 3 southern counties, and that we ought to have special dispensation to create and manage our own opening because we have such high concern. That doesn't mean that we have to put the brakes on fully. That means I want our local leaders making those decisions because we are far different than the rest of the state. And there's nothing in that order suggests that we delegated our authority away to any other body. And I wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
So
I'm not going to continue to argue. I think the results speak for themselves. We are legally part of that 3-county pact.
And the effect, it's not a pact. The effect is that the county commissions of those 3 counties can write their own orders, okay?
Well, I'm hopeful to do that. That's what I've asked for.
Of course we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So let me just clarify a couple other things. There's a lot going on that we should have been discussing. This is a waste of the commission's time for things not to be discussed. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I spoke inartfully then. What I said last time at our April 14th meeting was that we've got 3 weeks before we're going to meet again. I think we should be meeting and discussing a plan to reopen the county, as I said earlier today. I'm hopeful that we will ask the governor to release us from our restrictions, but we should have been ready with a plan. If we do that today, our plan isn't in place. I'm willing to take, I believe the governor and his task force in doing the phase one, looked at all the science, looked at all the data, did all the things. I'm willing to rely on them, for us to go into phase one. But going beyond that, I feel like within these past 3 weeks, we could have been discussing this, convening these industry group task forces. We had 3 weeks of nothing other than talking on the phone.
And you're not aware that in the background, our county administrator was convening these informal working groups to get the.
I know she was convening the beach, the beach, the golf, the parks, etc. But that, we're past that. And those are recreational activities that are great, but, the damage that's being done here is to the economy, not to people because their handicap's going up.
And I agree about the economy, and I think we're going to make some definite progress on that as a board, but you've attended some of the press conferences that I've hosted, correct?
Yeah.
Have I ever not allowed you to make some comments at that press conference? Have I invited you each time to speak to the public and to speak to me?
No, you didn't.
I've never invited you to speak?
Well, I was only at one
I know,
last
and
Monday.
did I invite you to speak at
you
that
didn't
one?
ask. No, you didn't ask me if I could speak.
Of course
but
I
that,
did.
No, you didn't.
Okay. During this process, did you?
Run the tape.
I will, and I have ran the tape, and I have some comments from Vice Mayor Weinroth about me usurping power from the board that I'm going to read in a minute. But let's start with
But
special.
did I make that clear? I mean, I think in the past 3 weeks, I think we should have met, and the commission's time could have been spent instead of.
I appreciate that. You wanted to meet. So my next question is, at the press conference, did you inform me that you wanted to meet?
I informed you at our meeting on April 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at the verbatim transcript. I say under my comments, I spoke extensively, which I don't normally do, talking about the need for us to meet. Ms. Baker, do you remember that?
Yes, you stated that you wanted to have all of our meetings in May, not to cancel the May meetings.
I said I wanted to meet before May.
Well, be that as it may, Commissioner Balashay, you're familiar with the rules of this board. You've been on this commission longer than I have, and we adopt the rules every year. And Section 2G says special meetings. A special meeting of the board may be called by a commissioner by written notice to the members. Did you submit that to the members? Did you submit it to the clerk? Did you notify me in writing?
No,
Did you ever
I
do that?
asked, you know me. I mean, I'm not going to, that's not me. I mean, I brought it up at this meeting. I didn't get the response, that would have indicated that people wanted to meet other than myself, and I dropped it.
Well, you dropped it until you put something in the Palm Beach Post that said I'm unlawfully usurping power from my colleagues.
I did not say that. I said I objected to your decision about being in lockstep, period.
And did you file any public comments with the Task Force to Reopen Florida, which I sat on, which convened for 7 days straight, and public comment was accepted ad nauseum? Did you at least try to notify me by that process that you're unhappy with the structure of this government response?
No. But, I mean, I don't really think as members of this board, we need to go through an intermediary to make our feelings known. During this period, Ms. Baker spoke to each of us individually, and, the outcome of that was, the opening of the golf courses and et cetera. But the important thing wasn't discussed, which is starting to open businesses.
All right, and is there anything that I can do better going forward to make sure that you feel properly included in this process? Is there anything I can personally do? Because I'm very sensitive.
Again, you're not listening to my answer. I've said I didn't feel excluded. That was not my comment. I said I objected to one decision, which I still object to. And we're still, until some resolution of that comes today, perhaps, we're still in lockstep, which I don't need to keep saying it, but I object to that.
Right, I appreciate your objection, but when I saw language that Commissioner Balashay said he's been...
Well, it's the newspaper.
Let me finish. I understand, and that's why I'm clarifying that you've been unfairly muzzled. It's never my goal to unfairly muzzle any of my co-equal members of this board.
I did not say that.
Okay, and I can only go off of what I was given in the newspaper. And Vice Mayor Weinroth, have you submitted any requests for special meetings to the clerk?
Mr. Mayor, I think that this family squabble in front of these people is not getting us anywhere.
I appreciate your
And
perspective.
I think that, let's, really,
When I'm
think if-
done, we will move
are
on.
we going to have a discussion, or are we just going to, you're just going to castigate us because you're not happy with what you're reading in the paper? The fact of the matter is, the fact that we didn't have these meetings is the reason why we are afraid at this point. We're having these emotional discussions, and that a commissioner thinks I should be demoted because somehow I am not keeping up with my responsibilities as vice mayor is just a show of the fact that we are all very sensitive to the fact that this has gone on so long and there's a lot of emotion. So I think we need to step back and stop having emotion and stop worrying about who called who what in the newspaper, because if you read down to the bottom of the paper, since you're busy reading the paper, let's read, meanwhile, the county commission is expected to address the decision, wait a minute.
I think you mean I'm not pointing the finger at anybody.
I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, he said, and these are quotes. These are not someone else writing it for me. When you're going after Commissioner Valichet on what somebody else wrote, I don't think that's fair, number one. Number two, as I said at the beginning of this meeting, the reason that we need more meetings so we can have a dialogue, not talk to each other through news articles and have hurt feelings. And I've said more than once, you have been handicapped by the fact that you didn't have our input. No, I didn't submit anything to the task force. No, I didn't request a special meeting. Do I have any other questions? Probably not,
I
but
do.
I'm still talking.
Okay, you haven't been recognized, but go ahead, sir.
Then recognize me.
You're recognized, Vice Mayor Weinroth.
Thank you, Mayor. Really, this is not productive. These people are here for one reason. They want to go back to work. They don't care if you and I are having a fight. And frankly, at the end of the day, they don't realize that we will shake hands and go out of here and be happy because this is part of the process. But the fact is that we haven't been here for 7 weeks. We didn't have this process, so now it's boiled to the top. But let me read what I did.
Okay.
I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody, he said, he being me. But I'm saying the process, what did I say before? Process. Process needs to be viewed more critically, and we need to make sure we are learning from this process, because this is not going to be the last time we're going to deal with an emergency. Hopefully we can review the procedures to take into account the problems we're seeing. And before then, I make it very clear, I am not pointing the fingers at you. I'm not pointing fingers at our county administrator. The process is defective, and I said at the beginning of the meeting, shame on me, I didn't ask for a special meeting. But here we are today, and we're having this conversation, and the reason why that this gallery is filled up with people is because they are concerned that we haven't made the decisions. At the end of the day, I'm in the minority, I'll be fine. If this board doesn't want to go and ask the governor to lift the restrictions on businesses, or you feel that you need to have a governor's permission to reopen the beaches, fine. I have no problem with that. I am a big boy, and if it's a 6-1 vote or a 5-2 vote, we'll move on. But the problem is we have not had this opportunity until today. That's the problem, not your leadership, Mr. Kerner or Mayor Kerner, and that is where we are today. And the fact that you feel that you need to defend yourself against an article in the paper is not the way that we should be doing business here.
I appreciate that input. Okay. I'm not here to defend myself. As I opened this comment, I said I want to defend the actions of our county administrator and the people that responded to this pandemic. So the one question I did have for you was, hopefully we can rewrite the procedures to take into account the problems that we're seeing. Today is our ability to talk about that, Vice Mayor Weinroth. And so I'm asking bluntly, I've clarified some things with my dear friend, Commissioner Valichet. I think we're back on the same page. For you, my question is, you know, it hurts my heart to hear that you feel that you've been reduced to a spectator, but what can we do to rewrite the procedures to take in the problems, the account of the problems that we're seeing? What are your recommendations? Because I want to continue to serve in this role, and I want to have feedback in public about how we can fix the problems that you see.
Mr. Mayor, I thank you for that question, and I'm recognized to answer it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think, number one, as I said, the Bible or the playbook that we're using, the CAEMP, the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, was never written and contemplating this kind of an incident. We need to be able to go back to this and say, we have a situation. We don't have an emergency that's lasting a week. We don't have a situation that's lasting a month. And so we need, as a body, a deliberative body that is charged with the ultimate responsibility for the running of this county, to be asked as a body to continually meet and to be able to have this kind of a conversation. You want to demote me to off of my position, Commissioner Bernard? Make the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call a point of order very quickly.
I thought I would have the microphone.
Well, point of order supersedes the current speaker, so
Thank
let
you.
me just work through this procedurally. You recognize Commissioner McKinley.
Do we have any of the 2 p.m. matters by the public cards that are non-COVID related right now?
Were there any?
We have,
I don't know that it would be
Because I
possible to
think
sort
if
it.
we do, that we should follow the time certain and allow the non-COVID related. The COVID related ones are related to an agenda item that we're currently discussing, but the non-COVID ones should have been heard at the time certain at 2 p.m.
I would not know how to filter that by substance. I mean, we can
they're all
jump into
COVID.
public comment.
they're all COVID related.
They're all COVID related. Okay.
Public comment, or you can answer it now.
Let me just give you a distilled version, please. And notwithstanding the volume, I respect you deeply for what you've done on behalf of the county.
Thank you.
And it is a difficult role that you have assumed. And if I'm not thrown out of my role, I might have to have that responsibility next year. Then again, I may not. Now, flash reports, situation reports, incident action reports, operations briefings, municipal briefings, and others which are going on an ongoing basis, I think are things that we should be privy to. And the problem, of course, is how do we do that without making these things public documents? So we need to figure out a way to keep us fully involved and fully informed, and to make sure that we are all, and I cannot stress enough, it's not enough for our county administrator to be soliciting from us individually our feelings, because it is this process, as ugly as it is. What do they say? You know, watching sausage made is not a process you want to watch. I used to work in a meatpacking firm. I'll tell you, you don't want to watch it. But this process is constructive, and it may be heated, but at the end of the day, this is the process of democracy, and this is the process of getting decisions done. And so I have no problem with being in the minority. I think I'm just asking that we, as a body, have an opportunity to continually talk to one another. And Sunshine makes that so difficult that we have to go out of our way to make sure that we have those opportunities. And Commissioner McKinley seems to think that we don't need additional opportunities to meet. I disagree with her, but again, that's what makes this operation work. If you
All right, well, we're having the option. Listen, I think now that the pandemic response has been executed and contained, that we certainly have the opportunity to meet on a more regular basis. And that's how we should proceed forward. My only point in all this is that when there's a pandemic and there's an emergency, this is not uncharted territory. This is a process that NIMS and National Emergency Management Response has contemplated for decades. I mean, even the sheriff's office at night has a command duty officer on duty who's a captain to act as essentially the sheriff for the county. It's not.
Their dad will take them out for ice cream.
I don't think ice cream's open. Yeah.
There are drive-through ice cream milkshakes, McDonald McFlurries. Yeah, they can make it work.
2 minutes. All right. What is the consensus on time? I don't want to overly restrict anyone's. Do we want 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or 1?
I would recommend 2 minutes, and please let the vice mayor go first.
Very good. 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes per speaker. 3 minutes it is. Democracy works. All right, so we're going to get into public comment for 3 minutes. We're going to be here for a while, and we're happy to do